Hey everyone, Nolar here, and back with the 5-9 gaming crew. We're going to talk about something a little different today. It's going to be more related to streaming, but it's about Twitch, which is related to games. And for a lot of you guys who are streamers and gamers, and this might be a pretty relevant thing because this changes the atmosphere. But I'm not alone. I'm joined by Goresh and Brad. Why don't you guys say hello?
What's going on, guys?
What up?
So, look, this is kind of a long situation that's been ongoing for a while with Twitch, but it kind of reared its ugly head when they had to actually address it yesterday. So for those of you who don't know, I guess it was like 4 or 5 months ago, we were getting the first indications that DMCA, and I'll explain all the technical stuff in a second here, DMCAs were getting hit on by the Twitch streamers with VODs and clips. And for those who don't know, DMCA is the Digital Rights, Digital Millennium Copyright Act. So basically, it's to help people with rights to copyrighted content make sure they can enforce that in the digital age. So with the internet, streaming, videos, all that stuff, it kind of relates to that. And because we are YouTubers, we're very familiar with DMCAs and copyright claims and stuff like that. But basically, if you hold a copyright and you think someone's infringing on it, you can claim it to whoever's hosting it. So in this case, YouTube, or right now Twitch, and then they have to comply. But at least with YouTube, it's a little broken because sometimes it's just automated, or even though it's under fair use, which we discussed in another video, they still claim it anyways, and YouTube has to comply. So in this case, a few people got hit with DMCAs because they were using copyrighted music in their broadcasts that are saved to VODs and to clips. Now, this is kind of weird because Twitch has always known that this could happen. I think about 4 or 5 years ago, YouTube had gone through its own growing pains with the DMCA. And now they have a system with the Content ID where if you manage to upload some kind of copyrighted material, either video or audio, you can get claimed. And unless the claimant thinks that it's a big issue, they can strike you, and that's a whole other thing. But YouTube went through its whole growing pains with that situation, and now Twitch is going through it as well. But the difference is Twitch always knew that this could happen. And what I mean by that is all the record labels, they always knew they could claim, make DMCA takedown notices on Twitch. They just never enforced it till this year. Not exactly sure what triggered that, but that's what happened, and that's where in the situation we are now. With a little bit of history about that, any thoughts on the situation, Goresh?
Yeah, so I think Twitch just not being prepared for this, and the main problem that we're seeing is I think it was back in either May or June of this year. So like you said, 5 or 6 months ago, whatever it was, they got like thousands and thousands of DMCA claims from record labels that own the rights to certain music clips or audio clips. And what that did was it triggered Twitch to basically go in and delete clips of streamers off their Twitch channel. So like if you had a clip that was recorded like 4 years ago or however many years ago, and that clip was flagged as being infringing on some copyright in terms of the audio that was playing, Twitch just went in and literally just deleted it from your channel forever. So there's a few things wrong with that in my mind, right? I'm not a lawyer. Nobody here's a lawyer, but we're talking about this from the perspective of just like everyday people, right? So number one, like your whole career on Twitch, if you're a streamer, is archived in your clips. So they're basically just deleting your history on Twitch. Number two, they didn't even give these streamers a chance to rebuttal against any of these claims. So if you think that you were in, fair use category, someone that falls into that category where you think you did have the rights to the music, you didn't even have an opportunity to, send in a claim or a counterclaim against that. And then number three, like I was talking about earlier, Twitch had known about the possibility that this could have happened, looking at how YouTube has handled this in the past. The DMCA thing is not new. It's not like some groundbreaking thing that just came out this year. It's been in existence for a while. And them not being prepared for something like this, and then them not being able to, I guess, correctly inform their streamers, or basically their contractors, essentially, is who the streamers are for Twitch. them not being able to give them ample time to even respond or inform them about what this is entirely their fault. Because what they did was they basically just deleted the clips and they didn't do anything else. They were just like, oh, well, yeah, we're getting a bunch of DMCA claims. I guess we're going to delete all your clips from the channel that you've had on there for like 4+ years or whatever it was. So there's a million different things that went wrong here. And I think, I don't know, there's a lot to talk about here. So hopefully we'll get into some of the other stuff as well.
Yeah, I think I think I can say we're all in the same camp or group, whatever you want to go with, that if you make content, you should be reimbursed for it properly. I have no problem with that and all this kind of, but it really just falls straight up on Twitch's shoulders. I'm not going to fully fault the companies that are like doing this because a lot of it's automated and you do have to fact check stuff. Like you can't just like, well, yeah, it's probably fine this time. It has to be, you got to take that hit and you got to do that and you move on. But yeah, the way Twitch handled it is just garbage. I remember seeing people post all over that like, I have 2,000 like hits on my channel in one day. What do I do? And Twitch is like, I don't know. Good luck. Like, it's like, that's just terrible. Terrible marketing on that one.
Yeah, I mean, when this first hit in about May, it was super frustrating because everyone normally, when we get a claim, like on YouTube, if I used music incorrectly or there's some video footage that belongs to Bandai or whatever, what ended up happening is we get an email that says all the information, who's the claimant, information I can contact them, if possible penalties if I continue to infringe, all that kind of stuff. So none of that was given out to them at all. Like all these Twitch streamers, like 2,000 notifications that I got DMCA'd. Like, okay, what do I do? Like, how do I avoid this? Blah blah blah. And they didn't have any infrastructure to handle this whatsoever. Where like if you had thousands of clips, well, you can't mass delete all clips. Not capable right now on Twitch. You have to use some third party like script or software to do it, and those seem a little sketchy and all that kind of stuff. So and again, those clips are your history. That's your career. So it feels really bad with the way they handled everything, and it turned out really terrible on their end. So with that said, they put out this blog post and a bunch of series of tweets to just update everyone saying, okay, so we heard you guys. We're going to go forward and remove some of these or add some tools to help you control your content, make sure you're following the guidelines, make some like camps, like educational camps, so you can understand what copyright infringement is and DMCAs and all that stuff, which okay, that's good. But what they didn't do was they didn't really think it through, or at least the people who are handling the Twitch support. Because we got this one here. I'm gonna put this up here right now. So someone asks, so what about music in game? The biggest game is about to drop next month, which he's referring to Cyberpunk 2077. And we have to mute all music entirely and ruin the experience for the in-game experience. And this guy with the hand emote, hey there, thanks for reaching out. We recommend reading any game's EULA and utilizing any option to turn it off, to turn music off if the game includes that option, or mute the game audio completely. And Goresh here waves back and says, that's me waving goodbye to the person's common sense that wrote this. So I want you to explain a little more on why this is a terrible take. Yeah,
so first off, not even related to the issue that we're talking about, just the professionalism of the person who wrote this is like from 1 to 10, I would give it -10. Because responding like in this manner, it's almost like a mocking tone that they're using, obviously with the hand emote. Like, what is this? Were you in kindergarten? Like, what is that? So that's number one. And then number two is this, obviously Twitch was established in order for people to be able to stream games on. And I think the question really comes down to, if you're streaming a game on Twitch, let's just, for example, say you're going to be streaming Cyberpunk, right, when it comes out. Or even the new Spider-Man game that I think just came out today on the PS5. So if you want to stream one of those games and, okay, you're set up, you're going live, and this person is telling you, you should consider muting the game sound. Well, in my mind, the game sound is part of the game. So if the website is set up in a way that you can stream games, isn't the game sound a part of what the experience is supposed to be? Isn't that a part of the package of the game? I know in legal land, things are separated and fragmented a lot of the time. So they probably have it set up to where, you know, the audio is owned by someone, the graphics are owned by somebody else, and like there's a million different things that are owned by different entities or different people or whatever it may be. But again, in terms of practicalness or practicality, when you think about streaming on Twitch and you're streaming a game, like you should be able to stream the game without any infringement or any, you know, any blockage towards any angle that you're streaming for. So for me, it just sounds super, super weird that they would differentiate, you know, the in-game music from the actual game itself. Because to me, the in-game music is part of the game. So if you're not letting people stream something that's part of the game, then are you really letting people stream the game on your website? And that's something that I think we should discuss as well. Because if you're not letting people stream games on your website, which is what this is telling me, because if you can't stream music, you can't stream the full experience of the game. Then what is the purpose of your website?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to really add to that, honestly. So the one thing that I think gets me, like, now correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a Twitch guru here, but they've always muted VODs if it had like copyrighted music, right?
Yes.
So that tells me they knew. Like they knew all this stuff for since Twitch has existed, that this one day would come to fruition. And it's kind of like, now that we're here, this is when you need to step up and you need to protect the people who are on your website. Whether or not, if, you know, like you said, legal land does separate a lot of different things, of course. But these are your users. These are what's making you the money. And to be just leave them out in the rain like that, it's like, I get the idea of, well, you know, we had to bow down to this or that at DMCA. I understand. I don't know. It bugs me a lot. It rubs me the wrong way. It's the same thing YouTube does it often too with creators where they're just like, well, sorry about it. Good luck on that one. And it just bugs me when these companies, when it's like, you can't just leave these people out who are making all of your money and tell them, yeah, just mute the game, bro. Like, that's all you got to do. And it's like, okay, yeah, let me just mute the game real fast. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, and I think going back to the actual legality of this, I think what Twitch's mindset is for this is they're like, okay, so you paid for the game, presumably, that you're streaming, right? I mean, we're assuming everybody paid for it. So you have some rights to stream that game, right? But what they're probably thinking is you didn't specifically pay for the audio of the game. And this is where, you know, legal land comes in, or whatever you want to call it, Lawyerville or whatever. Where
That's better. I like Lawyerville.
where, okay, like at what point is the audio of the game treated as a separate asset than the actual like graphical representation of what's like on your screen at the same time? And
I
since
don't
you
think
did,
it is. It's not. I mean, you look at Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is that music. You know, I mean,
yeah.
like,
Well, the developers of Cyberpunk obviously hired somebody to create that music, right?
yeah,
Right.
So you not paying for the usage of that music is probably what they're referring to, which I think is stupid, but that's probably the sort of gray area that they're talking about here, and that's why they probably have to enforce these rules. Where if you look at the law, again, none of us are lawyers, but I would be very hard pressed to know if there's any law that specifically says, you know, like what separates game audio from the game itself. You're not going to find that anywhere, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So we did a video on 5.9 here. I'll link in the description below on fair use. And so his take there was like, we should all be paying for licenses for these games to stream them, which was not completely wrong, but it was just a bad take the way he said it. However, if we're going to talk about this completely falls under it, because if I bought a separate license to stream the game, then everything should be covered. The music, the sound effects, the visuals, all that is under my right to do. And that's what I think, you know, they're trying to avoid doing that. It's like they don't want to enforce that kind of concept of everyone's got to buy a license to stream something, because then the streaming platform would be dead or like be very, very in the dirt. But instead, they're just trying to sidestep it, because if a lawyer could say like, okay, the music is separate from the game audio, I could make the argument in fair use that it is part of the game and I have the right to stream it, because the atmosphere of it, of the sounds and the music contributes to my reaction, to my thought process, to the game, to my gameplay, which is the content. You can argue that, but again, fair use is an argument. It's something that you have to present in a court of law to say, I use his copyrighted material in fair use, therefore I'm not infringing on the copyright holder's claim. I'm doing this in fair use. So to avoid all that, because that has to go to a court, they're just making this blanket statement, as stupid as it sounds, just turn off all the music and don't play any in-game audio, right? Because like even here, this guy replied here, he got muted for a police siren in his stream, in his clip.
The heck? A police
Right? So right
siren?
here.
What is that, music?
No, it's literally a sound effect.
Oh, it's copyrighted? Okay.
Yeah, so you muted me for a police siren in Persona 5. Should we turn off game sound effects too based on this device? And technically, yeah, I mean, that's what they're saying is like just play without the music, play without the sound so you don't get hit with the copyright. But at the same time, what we're all saying is the music and the sound effects is part of the experience. Like that is the fair use component of me to stream this.
Yeah, so I think the easiest way to explain this and to make it very easy to understand for people who don't really have a lot of experience with these sort of things before is think about a game like Guitar Hero or Rock Band. Basically, what they're inferring with this message is they're telling you to turn off the audio while streaming those games. Imagine streaming Guitar Hero or Rock Band without audio. It's literally just nothing. Like the audio of those games is 95% of the game. And that's a feasible argument that you could make when streaming games like that are based on the audio. So again, my question that I asked earlier, if you're not allowing people to stream the audio of these games, are you letting people stream games on your website? And I would say no. So what's the point of the website? I don't think there is one.
All right. So since Goresh mentioned Guitar Hero, I just wanted to bring this up. For Guitar Hero, Dragon Force was a big deal through the Fire and Flames. But this is a whole other situation. So Twitch suspends Dragon Force guitarist Herman Lee for playing his own music. Like he was playing a regular guitar, not Guitar Hero or Rock Band. He was doing his riffs, doing his solos, and he himself got DMCA'd, even though he writes the music. Technically, he's not the copyright holder, so I guess it makes sense. But this is the kind of stuff that's going on. It's where Twitch has now expanded outside of just game streaming, but that is the core of what it is. You know, now you have chats, just chatting, which is a huge part of Twitch streaming now. You have music creators like Herman Lee and other people that love to play their music online. And yeah, so I don't know. This is so stupid to me. The guy writes the music and still gets DMCA'd. So I don't know.
Well, so when it comes to this, like I get it. I totally understand like how it happens. You know, it's automated. We understand that at this point that it hits it, and then okay, you know, I appeal it. It gets taken off. Okay, no harm, no foul. Doesn't really matter at that point. But it's when it just gets hit and you can't reach out to anybody, and you're sitting there like, cool. I guess I just don't need any revenue. Not a big deal. I don't really care that I just wait. You know, it's like the entire point of doing it is this or that, or it can look negative on your image too. Like it does look like a negative because people don't need to know he doesn't own the copyright to that, you know, and now that's like a thing. And maybe it doesn't matter, but maybe it does matter to him, you know. It's just something that needs to be handled in a more fluid manner as opposed to just, well, you got hit. We'll get back to you in about 3 days, give or take. And it's like, well, at that point, I don't care. Like a YouTube video, it's like, if I get it taken off 3 days after, it's like, well, all my revenue comes in like the first day and like half the second day. So why would I care about it? Once it's gone 3 days later, that's dope, I guess, you know? But that's my biggest issue with it. It's going to happen. It's automated. And I want people to be protected who have the proper copyrights and stuff like that too. And yeah, we can goof on and stuff like that. But if he doesn't have the copyright, he doesn't have the copyright. But it needs to be more handled, be number one behind the scenes. And like, there needs to be people dedicated to, okay, you know, this is his music. Maybe take that claim off. Like, he shouldn't have to reach out and be like, hey, this, that, make a YouTube article or a Twitter article, whatever else, talking all about it to get the attention.
I mean, if I'm like a musician and I'm streaming on Twitch and I'm streaming my own music and I get claimed and like my stream gets like taken down or whatever, guess what? I'm not streaming again on that website. So it not only makes him look bad, it makes them look bad because it makes them look stupid for doing that. I think it not only pertains to this specific circumstance, but it also persists to the thousands and thousands and thousands of other channels that got hit for this when there were no measures put in place to anticipate something like this. When Twitch and the user or the individuals that were running Twitch, who were behind Twitch, I assume they have a full legal team. Otherwise, that's a whole other issue to talk about. But they have people there who are informed about all these issues. And guess what was done prior to this? Literally nothing. There were no tools. There were no there was no way for any of the streamers or anyone to sort of like file counterclaims against what was being insinuated against them. Nothing at all. So it's just this looks really, really bad for Twitch. Like very, very bad, considering that they have the backing of Amazon at this point as well. I mean, this is like unacceptable.
Yeah. Just to piggyback on that point, it's Herman Lee's not a small name Twitch streamer. I mean, he's a well-known musician. He has streams a lot for musicians, so he's a bigger player. So for him to automatically get hit by the machine, to be like, oh, here's a DMCA, and then he has the following and the backing to force his way out of it. Imagine if you're a small streamer with like 20, 30 subs, or whatever. You don't have. There's not much hope there. So, I mean, I'm going to echo the same points where Twitch was fully aware of the situation. Whether or not they were going to be ready in time was just a whole other thing. But from what we've seen, they just didn't. They just sat on their asses. They didn't do anything. So yeah, it's unfortunate. But now they're trying to, make some headway with getting around it, which is the one thing we're going to talk about real quick. It's just the soundtrack stuff. They're doing a whole beta of this new tool, and basically what it is soundtrack is like a place where a lot of music that's rights free, like if I was a musician and I wanted to upload my music to be used on Twitch, I put it up here and just rights free. You can use this as much as you want, and the way it works is in your streaming software, it's a dedicated audio source. Download the thing, you get it ready to go, and then you can start streaming, and then you can play all the music that's in this bank of, from Monster Cat or whatever, any rights free music or licenses that Twitch themselves have bought that they were allowed to use. Like they bought the licenses to be able to be streamed. But what happens is once the stream goes down and you get the VOD and the clips, all that music source, that soundtrack source is muted. So if you watch the VOD or you look at the clips, there's no music available, even though supposedly all the stuff in here is like rights free. Don't really understand it, but this is their solution, I guess, to handling the situation and allowing their streamers to have music in the background.
Well, it's a start for sure, but like as Gresh pointed out, when you're backed by Amazon, I feel like we could probably find a way around this. Like that's ridiculous to be giving you copyright free music. Which, by the way, I've actually been hit on YouTube videos with copyright free music. So I get that they change in and out what's free, what's not free, yada, yada, yada. But again, you are backed by literally probably the number one company in the world when it comes to finances. And this is an issue, like finding music for streamers to play on their stuff, to keep on their VODs. That's cool. We can play it during the stream. It's great. It's a start, but a start doesn't quite get you where you need to go.
Yeah. Again, for me, the biggest thing is you can't stream the game audio because, while you can stream other things on Twitch these days where, you can stream, I don't know, just talking or whatever, where it's literally just you talking to your viewers, which is cool. But the main draw of the website and the main purpose of why the website was created, it was supposed to be primarily a game streaming website where you stream games. That's the purpose. That's why it exists. So if you can't do that, then like, what's the point of the website? I don't know. If you can't stream Guitar Hero audio, why would you stream Guitar Hero? If you can't stream, honestly, if I'm thinking about streaming a game and if I can't stream the audio, I don't even know. I probably wouldn't even stream. Period, because it ruins the experience. Because if I'm a viewer and I'm watching a Twitch video or a Twitch stream, I want to be able to hear the audio because it's part of the experience of the game. For me, it's just it ruins everything. Like that's the biggest thing for me. Again, their original purpose was to stream video games, and if you can't fully stream the game to what it was intended to be played as, then it's just not worth it.
Yeah. It again, there's so many different moving pieces to it because when we're talking about game music, some of the soundtrack is that the OST, the score, is that the sound effects. Either way, what Garesh is saying is absolutely right. Every single part is integral to the game experience, right? If you're playing like some Phasmophobia and they had some like creepy soundtrack OST in the background, but you get claimed for it, then you have no soundtrack. It's just you sitting there with the sound effects. Like it's just not the same experience.
Yeah, imagine playing Phasmophobia with no audio. It's like the entire game is the audio.
Yeah. So look, there's a lot to it. that's going on. I think we're all in agreement in the beginning, opening salvo, that Twitch just didn't handle this right. They had all the time in the world to prepare themselves, just looking at other platforms like YouTube and other things like that. They could have been more prepared, and especially with the backing of Amazon, just seems kind of befuddling that they weren't ready. But yeah, I don't know. You guys, let us know in the comments below. What do you think about this whole DMCA situation and the solution from Twitch, which is, hey, don't just turn off all the audio. You'll be fine. So, any
I
last
want to
words,
know
guys?
as well. Does it matter to you if things are like muted? Like if you don't hear the in-game audio, does that matter to you? I actually want to just know. So if you're interested,
Yeah.
leaving a comment about that too, because that intrigues me. Because I personally, I can play games without audio, but I can't watch them without audio. Like it's a whole different vibe at that point. If I watch me without no audio, I'm like, well, I don't want to just hear your voice. So let me know. I actually want to know that.
Yeah,
I
that's a
think,
good
I think it
point.
depends on the game, but like for me, if
No, of
I'm
course.
watching a stream, like
Yep.
I would prefer to hear the in-game audio over some random music that Twitch gave you to play. So I don't know.
No, 100%.
Alrighty. So yeah, let us know in the comments below. What do you guys think about this whole thing? And of course, what Brad said of, do you guys play with the audio on? Do you watch streamers with audio only, or have you watched streamers without audio? That's kind of a weird thing to ask, but it's something we got to ask now, right? So yeah, let us know. And thanks a lot for joining us on this discussion piece on 5-9 Gaming. Follow us on all on our social media in the description below, and we'll catch y'all next time. All right, we're out.